But first, we are also covering some breaking news from overnight after a few shootings in Denver, including this one. Denver police say 3 people got hurt after a shooting in southwest Denver. This happened along Sheridan, just south of Jewell Avenue. DPD says 3 people went to the hospital. At least 2 of them got there on their own. We got a look at the scene this morning. Police were working in a large parking lot between businesses off Sheridan. No word at this hour about any suspect information. Police are also investigating a shooting off West Alameda this morning. That happened near the Morrison intersection, just west of Federal. DPD says 1 person went to the hospital. No suspect information yet. All right, now let's talk about a wide impact story for the weekend. Carly Cassidy joining us this weekend to talk weather because we've had some storms moving through and we've got more on tap today.
Yeah, a lot going on with that monsoon moisture. Once again, afternoon, evening time frame. This morning, beautiful start, getting a bit of a dry start to give us a chance to soak things up, and then we'll have some more as we go into the afternoon and evening. 64 degrees, it's fairly mild, but that humidity, 84%. You will really feel that moisture once you are stepping outside for this morning. It's hanging on tight for at least today, more so tomorrow, and then we'll start to dry things out as we go into next week. But even all the way across the state, really feeling that. As far as any rain, not too much activity for this morning, mainly just down here to the south, getting some showers, that little isolated storm there, and then that will start to fill in just like how we have been the past couple of days. The clouds come by lunchtime with some of those storms and then continue into the early evening hours. Also, like yesterday, the localized flooding, the street flooding, that's one of the main concerns. Some hail possible and those gusty winds, especially here towards the east in the yellow color. And with all of that, especially since we have picked up so much rain in some areas the past couple of days, we still have that flood watch in place from 2 until 10 o'clock tonight. Another round 1, possibly 3 inches in those isolated areas where those downpours just really get going. So that's what we'll keep a close eye to as we go throughout the rest of the afternoon, evening with that monsoon moisture. That shower storm chance does stick around for tomorrow, and then we start to dry things out. So we'll time things out, talk about the rest of your weekend, coming up in my full forecast.
All right, Carly, thank you. Let's talk preseason. How about a pregame, tradition before the preseason? Pat Surtain making a fans' day prior to the opener last night. Broncos posting some video on social media showing the cornerback flipping a ball out to a young Broncos fan, which is a pregame tradition for him. He often will find a fan before a game and give away a ball. So here we go. Season starting, right? Now on to the game. Broncos preseason opener is officially in the books. It's important to remember it was just the first game of the preseason. We got a long season ahead. Broncos have lofty goals this year, but we can still get excited because this was a beatdown. The Broncos embarrassed the Falcons last night. Denver got the opening kickoff. It took just 6 plays for the Broncos to find the end zone. Jarrett Stidham went 3 for 3 before Adam Prentice scored on a fullback dive. The Denver defense also did its part after only 10 interceptions all of last year. They had 2 in the first half, and the second one basically sealed the game.
Here's Rush, wants to throw. It's batted away and intercepted. Barron picks up the deflected pass all the way down the sideline. No Falcons anywhere near him. John A. Barron.
Nice. So the Broncos take the opening preseason game 27-7 over the Falcons. Jarrett Stidham looked solid in his bid to retain the backup QB job. The defense is already grabbing pick sixes. Life's pretty good so far, right? Scotty Gange, Mike Kliss, they've got post-game reaction to keep your spirits high.
I tell you what, I don't think the Broncos will ever lose another game again after this performance. A 27-7 thrashing of the Atlanta Falcons in their first preseason game. With Mike Kliss, I'm Scotty Gange. Mike, your biggest takeaway, what would you say it was?
24-0 at halftime, when it was kind of the starters against the starters for a lot of that. But the biggest thing was probably how much the offense looks like it's going to improve this year. With Davis Webb as a play caller, they're going to open it up a little more, throw it downfield, throw it. I think the whole overall operation offensively is going to be improved. And they were 14-3 last year. Maybe they can be 16-1 this year.
Let's hear from Jarrett Stidham, the quarterback, the starting quarterback for the Broncos on Friday night, on his thoughts about Davis Webb, the offensive coordinator. What are your impressions on his day today?
Yeah, he's been great. I can't speak highly enough of Davis and everything that he's meant to me since coming here, but also the room and just seeing him kind of grow into this new role that he's got. I mean, he's going to be really, really good for a really long time.
Mike, are we all overreacting? This is a preseason game. against not one of the best teams in the NFL in the Atlanta Falcons?
Well, it reaffirms that the Broncos are a real good team. They were 14-3 last year, won a playoff game, got to the Final Four, and it looks like the signs are this team is hungry, more determined, stronger than last year, ready to get that another step or two.
The signs are it's going to be a really fun season. With Mike Kliss, I'm Scotty Gange.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. We do have some breaking Broncos news to report this morning. The Broncos have suffered a major injury after last night's win. Third-year inside linebacker Lavelle Bailey suffered a break in his lower leg, a source told 9 News. Bailey's expected to undergo surgery and miss extensive time, according to that source. Bailey hobbled to the sideline following a special teams play, and a few minutes later was carted into the locker room. If you're excited about the next game, good news. You can join us here on Friday next week for the Broncos' second preseason game against the Green Bay Packers. Coverage starts at 6 on 9 News. You can also watch it for free anywhere in the Denver TV market. Just look for the Broncos stream on the 9 News app and 9news.com. Despite all the rain that we've had lately, we are still in a historic drought this year. A lot of cities around Denver are tracking people's water very closely. 9 News reporter Shalima Maharaj takes a closer look at how the officials are keeping tabs on your taps.
When the water flows,
there's far more at stake.
Aurora Water knows.
You have the meter body itself.
It's called advanced metering infrastructure.
So this disc is what's actually keeping track of your use. So as water enters, it causes that little disc to kind of tumble around.
Also known as AMI.
This is the piece that you would actually see sticking out of the top of your meter pit.
Using cellular data, it transmits information back and forth to City of Aurora servers. Aurora Water's Allison Quintana says it allows them to see how much water is being used at a property at any given time.
So it takes the peak amount of water used throughout the winter consumption, and then we add an extra 10% on top of that. And then we're saying anything above that might be an irrigation event.
Aurora Water has issued 344 fines. The total value is around $140,000.
Unfortunately, drought is kind of that slow-moving emergency.
At the same time, Denver Water is now ramping up enforcement.
We do have monthly billing for our customers, and we actually pair that with aerial photography. So we also know how much area on every customer's lot could be landscaped.
Around 5,000 of their customers have advanced metering infrastructure, a small number compared to the roughly 250,000 they have overall. They've sent out 150 warnings and between 15 and 20 fines.
Pretty early on, we knew, okay, this is going to be a year where it's going to be all hands on deck.
For the most part, Mark Laurie says Broomfield is in pretty good shape. Word of mouth is a big part of their strategy.
We have an online form where residents or businesses or staff can report if they see a violation of our watering rules.
And people are piping up. They've received 174 complaints.
Shalima Maharaj reporting. One thing each water management department agreed on is there's a lot riding on this next winter. They say customers will have to keep reining in their use probably for a while now.